Hello, what's going on? I'm not working on my car this week because I'm broke, but I was thinking, if you've got thousands of dollars to spend and a big pile of metal in the back of your backyard and your wife hates you, then you probably should start working on that project car, right? Well, with all the other idiot YouTubers out there, like myself, I want to give you guys 10 things I've learned restoring my car. Now, these aren't 10 things that you would get from any professional car guy. These are 10 things that come from me. I have no idea, or I had no idea. No, these are things that are from a guy who does not work on cars. I have no idea what I do day to day. I am learning as I'm going, and these are things that have really helped me, and hopefully they can help you. But with all that said, here's 10 things that you should do before you start your project car. Research everything there is about this car. You want to know all the models, all the variants, all the engine types, the trim finishes. You want to know absolutely everything that comes in this car. What's the average mileage on a car like this? Are there common problems? Do they have common rust areas? Are there parts available for those rust areas? Can you get parts easily? You might go and buy a Japanese car and then realize that you've got to source every little piece from overseas. That's not going to be helpful. You should know these things. All this information that you gather is going to help you get a really good understanding for what you're actually getting yourself into and for what price. You don't want to overpay for a car and then realize you've got to spend twice as much money as what you thought just to get it up to standard, and already you've bought this hunk of junk and you can't afford to fix it. It's also going to help you make sure that you don't go and buy the "I know what I've got" bloke selling his 80 series Land Cruiser, and you don't go to the "oh, this was my grandma's daily to the shop and back 4-inch lift 500,000k car." How many trips can you do to the shops and back, grandma? The other big thing is manuals. Find the manuals online, download them. There was a really good website that I found where you could donate a little bit of money or not and get all the 60 series chassis manuals, engine manuals, everything like that. And they are just a really good they're a really good resource to have if you ever get stuck trying to work on your car, or you don't know what you're doing, and you refer back to these things. These are the OEM manuals, or get the OEM manuals, So make sure you get the right tools for the right job. Make sure you have what you need to get this car done right, because there's nothing worse if you don't do this right. Facebook community groups are so undervalued when you're restoring a car. Having the help and advice of hundreds, even thousands of people who have done what you are about to do on your car at the fingertips, in your phone, on your laptop, is just so invaluable. You need to reach out to these communities, join in, introduce yourself, and don't just join these communities. Interact. Tell them that you're looking for a car. Tell them what you want to try and achieve. Have a look at what people are asking, what people are doing. Some people, are so helpful online, and they will hand out so much valuable information for you. And some people just love hunting for bargains. So put the feelers out there, because someone will find that old barn style car sitting tucked away, and you never know what you'll find. So join in, be a part of that community. It's an awesome place to be. The other big tip is, if you look at a car and you think, oh, this might be the car for me, jump online, have a look. Some people are selling absolute lemons. Actually, I saw this guy who was selling a Hilux, I think. I'm not going to be specific. And he said, it's only just kind of been on the beach, but it's been washed thoroughly. And then we've got a video of the car actually submerged in water. So, do your research, jump online, have a look around. There are just as many amazing people online as there are not so amazing people. Now, if you're like me and you haven't worked on a car before, when you get stuck into this build, you are going to get yourself in over your head at some point. This thing here is the greatest thing you will ever have. This is the best tool that you can have. Take photos of everything. Now you're probably thinking, oh, I can just look up someone else's photos. I could watch a YouTube video. So many people accidentally or not accidentally leave things out. Now, I know when I did my rear drum hub video, I didn't show you guys doing the bearing tensioner, putting in the spacer before I put in the lock nut, and other things like that. And that's okay. But don't rely on anyone else. This is your car. This is your baby. Make sure you do things right. take photos, log everything. The other thing is if you take photos before and after, you get some ballin' ass photos that you can put up. You know, you can be so proud of what you've done. You look at your phone, you go, man, that's what my drums looked like beforehand, and this is what they look like now. And you just, it's a real sense of pride, especially if you're not working on cars, to see a before and after. And you go, yeah, I made that's mine. This car is mine. You will grow a relationship with this car. Also, your wife doesn't care about your 35-year-old drum brake system and how clean it looks. So, you've finally decided on the car you want. You've researched everything there is to know, inspected it, negotiated it, got it for the right price. You've dragged the old thing into the garage. You're gonna have such a temptation to just start ripping it apart, getting stuck into it. Stop. Take an hour, go to the local hardware store, buy yourself a bunch of multi-storage containers and some permanent markers and tape. However, you need to be organized right now. I made the mistake of using plastic bags and Ziplocs and boxes and none. Go to your hardware store, buy the right gear. I didn't do this, and now I've got bolts missing everywhere. I'm missing toe ball connection bolts. I'm missing a ton of interior bolts, and now I am stuck in a really pain in the ass position where I have to go to Wreckers and all sorts and reach out online to find the right stuff. And it's annoying. It's frustrating, you know. If you unscrew something, you put it in the box. You write what order you took it out on, what it is, where it came from, left side, right side. Don't be like me. Be organized. Same thing, as soon as you get this car, you're going to be so excited to start ripping everything apart, slow it down, make a list, one thing at a time. If the engine's not running, don't go and pull the interior out, don't go and rip the roof off, focus on getting the engine running, then get the wheels done. Don't pull the brakes out, then pull the interior out, because you'll just get overwhelmed so quickly. So try to keep your excitement contained and just work on one thing at a time. For me, the goal was to get the car running and driving and safe. So we weren't going to start rebuilding replacing windscreens and working on rust. It was like, get the car so it starts, so it drives, it brakes, and all those good things. And then from there, you start restoring. It's like, yeah, okay, the hubs were blown out, but they don't need to be done right now. It can wait. Right now, the engine needs a service. The front brakes need replacing. You know, all the important stuff. And everything I did, I tried to do in full. So when I finished something, it was finished. It was done. I didn't half pull the hubs out and then a week later go back and try and do something completely different. It was like, no, if you start something, you finish it, you move on. There's nothing worse than watching your pride and joy, your baby that you've worked on for months, get stripped apart. It looks like a shell of what it was, and you feel overwhelmed trying to put it back together. Working on cars is expensive. There's just no other way to put it. So if you found yourself like me, having to run to the store to go and buy that one tool to do that one little niche thing, you might find yourself spending lots of money. Some things you can get around not having. You do not have to have the top of the line torque wrench. You do not have to have a full fucking 1 to 50 Sid Chrome spanner set. You can get away with some really cheap and affordable tools and still do the job properly. Hell, I did half of this car without a workbench. You probably will need a bearing puller. You're probably going to need a grease gun, but you don't need the $200 grease gun. Go and buy the $40 grease gun. Don't go and buy that one specific flywheel bearing puller. Go and buy a universal one. You'll probably do 10 things with that universal bearing puller before you go and need that one specific one that you needed. I did my steering dampener with a bearing puller that didn't even fit around the steering dampener compression fitting. And I had to get like a piece of metal and like put it in and jack it up. An absolute nightmare. But I got it. And it is tempting to buy like top of the line gear. I get the idea of a tool aesthetic and having a nice workbench, but the end goal here is to get the car finished. We're not working on your garage. We're not investing in tools. We're not investing in anything. We're investing in the car. My torque wrench was like, I don't know, $90, something like that. You can buy a torque wrench for like $800 or something. You don't need it. And you'll be surprised what you actually can do with the tools that you have. I'm going to go into detail in another video about all the different tools I actually use. I did the rust repair around my window. No vise, no linisher, no big panel beating tools. I didn't even have a vise. I mean, you can do some amazing things without all the billions of tools that there are in the world. If this is your first time restoring a car, this is a hobby. This is something you're trying. You're not going to be good at it. Your panel beating's not going to be perfect. You might not do something right. You might miss something. You've got to be prepared that things are going to go wrong. And in saying that, having a $500 torque wrench over a $200 torque wrench is not going to make you a better mechanic. I love seeing those guys that restore Land Rovers in like the middle of a developed country with like a mash hammer and a pair of tweezers. They're like the Filipino equivalent of those guys that build pools in the middle of the forest. This one I think is really important. I really got overwhelmed really quickly with the amount of things I needed to do on the car. So having a plan, making a list was really important to me. It made sure that I knew what I needed to do. And all of a sudden that list got smaller and smaller as you work through it. It's really easy to feel like you're fighting an uphill battle, wasting money. But take out your phone, open the notes app, write that list. I've got heaps of notes in my phone from everything where it was like, just do the rust repair, replace the windscreen, put the seats back in, blah, 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 blah. And if one of those things, like the rust repair, got too overwhelming, it was, that got broken down again. Cut the rust down, assess the rust, treat the rust, build the new panel, check it, tack it, fill it, sand it, you get it. And and I did get genuinely overwhelmed about doing the rust repair. I spoke to my uncle about maybe him doing it, and I spoke to another family friend about seeing if they could do it. And I thought, bugger, I'll give it a go and whatever. But I broke it down, I watched the YouTube videos, I did the research, I did all the things I could, so I went into that as prepared to deliver the best result I could. What is it they say? Failure to plan is planning to fail. Yeah, something like that. Oh, I just realized my shirt's got green on it and I'm behind a green screen. Oh, I'm gonna have shit running through my... I'm gonna have all sorts of stuff running through my jumper now. Great. I even picked this jumper. I was like, this is my nicest jumper. Idiot. If this is your first time restoring a car, you're gonna f*** it up. Sorry. You're gonna strip a nut, forget a gasket, snap a bolt, grind something that shouldn't be grinded. Grinded? You're gonna do stuff that you really shouldn't have. But that's all right. That's all part of learning. That's all part of actually restoring a car. Mistakes are inevitable. Remember the first time you tried to ride a bike? Remember the first month of your apprenticeship? You sucked. But don't beat yourself up. Bust out that manual, work out what you need to do, jump on YouTube, watch a video, fix your mistake, go and buy another seal, go jump online, ask a question. We're all here to help, and it's such a cool community that, I'm speaking for the Land Cruiser community, but the 60 Series community has been so helpful. And, I'm sure all the other communities out there that are just as good, and people want to help. People want to see us put these beautiful cars back on the road and give them the life that they deserve. And the other thing to consider is, like, if you haven't worked on a car before, you're not in the mindset of it. I know when I went from being an electrician to a builder, that I went into being a builder like an electrician. I had an electrician's mindset, and it took me a really long time to adjust to my new mindset. You'll notice that your mindset will start to shift in how cars work and what they do and how they operate. And I slowly am getting that. I slowly see myself go, oh, if something's wrong, I can see my brain's fault finding start to tick over. Why is my car not starting? Am I getting fuel? Am I getting this? Am I getting that? What's the electrical doing? Yada, 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 yada. And you will work it out. So keep going. Don't stop. Work it out and you'll be fine. Actually, it was a pretty funny story. So the first time I ever changed oil was in my VT Commodore. It was a 1999 Series 1. I absolutely loved it. And it ran low on oil. And I rang my friend and I said, hey, my car's oil lights come on. What should I do? And he said, I'll fill it up with oil. Oh, yeah, right, whatever. I went to the shop, bought oil, open up the bonnet. I'm like, oh yeah, there's oil. I unscrew it. And I pour like 2 full 5 litre, whatever they are, tubs of oil in my car. I turn my car on and my car just starts busting out black smoke. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? I rang my friend. He burst out laughing at me and I had to drain it all out, but I didn't have the right tools to get the sump plug off. So what I did was I unscrewed the oil filter. I know this is bad, all right? I unscrewed the oil filter and just like turned the car on for a little bit, watched a bunch of oil fall out, screw the oil pump back up, let the car run for a bit, check the dipstick, not too much, unscrew it, pump it a bit more oil out. So anyway, I've come a long way, I promise. Point is, cut it out, send it back, undo it, put it back in, try again. Just, you'll be fine. This one I think is actually pretty important. Spend your nights being inspired by other cars. Think of ways to make your car run better, run smoother, look nicer, drive nicer. If you don't have a love for your car or cars in general, then maybe this isn't for you. This isn't for people who don't appreciate every car on the road. This car building thing is hard, man. It's expensive. It's going to take your evenings, your weekends, any days off, any time off. My weekends are planned around working on my car. I'm thinking about what I need to do on my car this weekend. Do I have everything I need? You know, my 60 isn't going to be the cleanest or the quickest or the toughest looking, biggest wheels, yada, yada, yada. But it's my car and I love it. So be obsessed with your car. Think about it day and night. If you've gotten to the end of this video and realized, yep, this is absolutely what I want to do, I'm going to waste all my money and lose all my weekends working on a car, then great, go out and buy your car. But slow it down. I looked for 12 months for the right four-wheel drive that I wanted to do up. I looked at GQs, GUs, 60s, 80s, Land Rovers, Jeeps, everything. I looked at all sorts of cars. I even had another car before this. 12 months before I found the car that fit my budget, fit my capabilities of what I knew I could fix. And even then, I think this car is really pushing the limits of what I can and can't fix. And I'm honestly really surprised with what I've been able to do. And that's at the credit of all the people that watch these videos, all the people that support me, and all the people in the communities on Facebook and online and all the other areas that we talk to. I Hate Mud and all those places. All these people have really supported me. Thank you. By the way, scroll through Facebook Marketplace, jump on Gumtree, go to car sales. I mean, I don't think you'll find a great deal on car sales, to be honest. At least for project cars, you're not going to. But as prices are going up on cars, especially four-wheel drives in Australia at the moment, don't rush into the first thing you see thinking you're not going to get in. There is going to be the car out there for you. Save your pennies. Be ready to take on this project. Don't go and buy a car and then stick it in the shed going, I'm going to restore it one day. There's nothing worse than hearing to that bloke who bought that HQ Monaro that he's going to do it when he retires, and 20 years later he busts it out and now it's the same condition as half of the garden ornaments. I bet you it's Gary. It's always Gary that would do something like that. Fucking Gary. So many times I thought I found the car that, that's my car, I'm going to do it up, I'm going to go and look at it, and it didn't turn out to be, and that's okay. The perfect car is the one you get. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I know this is like a real weird video, and it's a little bit jank if you ask me. I hope the green screen works, hey. But anyway, if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate it, and yeah, hopefully next week will actually be a build video. But yeah, so thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next one.